Okay, Acebeam sent along these lights for review, and I'm actually really excited about them because although they're fairly basic on the surface, these are some of the best tactical lights I've used yet. They offer excellent build quality, performance, and a great interface at a good price. Now the thing is, the P17 and the P18 are more alike than they are different. They're very similar. They have pretty much the same performance, almost the same build quality and form factor, the exact same interface, and so on. There's just minor differences in the beam type and a couple of features. Both of these lights are built extremely well. They're single 21700 lights with dual nested tubes because they have two tail switches for the UI, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But they're made of very well machined aluminum with thick, hard anodizing. We've got mineral crystal lenses with anti-reflective coating, great bezels, and the P17 even has these zirconium inserts for glass breaking, which is pretty cool. Now the main difference you'll notice immediately are the LEDs up front. So the P17 has a single XHP 70.3 high intensity, and the P18 has 4 SFT40 LEDs. Now what that means is that the P18 is going to have a slightly larger head, but that's going to amount in quite a bit more throw than the P17. However, in terms of output, they're actually very similar. I measured 4500 lumens on turbo on the P17, and the P18 on turbo I got 4600 lumens. So again, in terms of output, they're basically identical, and when we look at the runtime graphs, we'll see that between both lights on turbo and on high, they're very comparable. We have basically the same runtimes and the same sustained output. Note that regulation here is very good and sustained output is excellent. So both of these lights have the same user interface. We have a dual tail switch system here with a forward clicky tail switch, which turns the light on and off to the last used mode, and a side E switch here, which cycles upwards through the modes when the light is on, and then when the light is off, pressing and holding will turn on to moonlight mode. Okay, so what I just showed you was the daily mode of operation, which it comes standard in. I really like that. It's just very fast, simple, easy to use. But there are two other tactical modes we can access. So if we press and hold this side switch for 3 seconds, and then click the tail switch, it'll do this fading thing here. And from here, we just click the side switch, and that will change us to our tactical mode now. So from tactical 1 mode, pressing and holding, again, will just activate the last used mode, but pressing the side switch will activate strobe. That's the tactical 1 mode. There's also a tactical 2 mode, which will give you high when you press the side button instead of moon or strobe. So you have some options there, which is really neat. However, as much as I like that, one thing that is worth noting is that there is no operation where you can just go straight to turbo every time you turn the light on. This main tail switch is always just going to memorize the last used mode. If you set it to tactical 2, the side switch will activate high, but not turbo. This is in contrast to some other tactical light systems I've seen. So for example, this is one from Brightest, where it has a similar forward clicky and a side E switch, but the forward clicky will always default to turbo, and the side E switch will then cycle the modes. Every time you press this main rear switch here, it's going to activate to turbo, no matter what you do. And some people really want that in a tactical light, which is totally understandable. So just something to note, if you want that specifically where it always turns on to turbo with the tail switch, that is not an option here. Again, the next best option would be to use tactical 2 mode where this side button here turns it on to high. Personally, I don't have an issue with this. I actually prefer this style of operation. I don't like it always turning on to turbo. I just find that annoying. I'd much rather have a shortcut to moonlight mode or just medium, whatever I was using last. But anyway, definitely something to keep in mind. Now with the wider head of the P18 comes a really cool unique feature. So both of these lights include 21700 cells, but the P18 has a collar right here that you can screw off to reveal a built-in USB charging port in the body of the light. This is a really great feature. I like this a lot. In my opinion, this is the best way to put a charging port into the body of a light. This collar right here is going to be very durable, very good for water resistance, but when it's screwed on, it's totally unobtrusive. You wouldn't even know it's there, really. So I really like that. I think that's kind of a killer feature for this light. So again, to reiterate, the primary difference between these two lights is in the beam. In terms of output and performance, both on turbo and sustained, they're pretty much identical. However, this quad SFT40 light is substantially throwier than the P17's XHP 70. So if you're looking for throw, this is definitely the way to go. However, surprisingly, it also has more spill than the P17 does. So it can both punch further and illuminate a wider area. So really honestly, in terms of raw utility, this P18 I think is the winner here. With its more versatile beam and its built-in charging port, I think it's really a killer design. That being said, the P17 definitely has a cleaner beam. There's fewer artifacts, so honestly, I quite prefer this. Another thing worth noting, however, is that the P17 uses a 7070 sized emitter, which means Acebeam could put a warmer XHP70 in here. They could also use the GT FC40, which they've had in a few other lights. That's a really cool high CRI emitter, so there's definitely some interesting options available here, and even more so if you're willing to mod this light. So that being said, I do recommend the P18 to most people. I think this light is better from a utilitarian standpoint, and I think more people will prefer it. It's slightly brighter, it definitely has more throw, it has a wider spill, and it has that really cool built-in charging port. So all around an excellent design. I really like this light. As for the P17, I personally slightly prefer this light. I just like the form factor more. It's just a little more carryable, it's just a little nicer in my opinion. And I do prefer the cleaner beam, even if it is slightly less performant technically. It's just a nicer experience in my opinion. That being said, you definitely can't go wrong with either of these. They're, again, very similar, which is to say, really good. They're really good lights. I really don't have any major criticisms for either of these. Like, the only thing I would say is I wish they came with holsters in the box. For the price, I think they should come with holsters, but other than that, they're really excellent. The P17 comes in at $120, and the P18 is $10 more at $130. That is a bit pricey, but I think it's really well justified in this case between the excellent build quality, the excellent quality of the electronics, the excellent beam quality. They're just really solid lights all around. However, we will have a link and a coupon code in the description that you can go check out to save some money, so definitely go take a look at that if you're interested in these lights. They're really good again. And if these don't quite appeal to you, as always, we have other cool videos on this channel you can go check out. So, yeah, thanks for watching.